maybe. It's not a half circle. What the? How am I feeling the netcode? The netcode is fine. It's not amazing, but it's not trash. There are two main problems. One is that in this menu, it'll show the ping over there where it says delay. It'll show their ping. That's not accurate in this window. Once you get into the match, it increases by like 50 milliseconds, which is insane. So that's problem number one. And problem number two is the crashing. If you go back to last stream, I tried to play against a guy from Europe. It showed 120 to 130 ping in the lobby. In the match, it was 160 or worse. And we literally crashed in between every single match. Now, it never crashed during a match, which is important. But it would consistently crash between matches. Every single time. For a whole hour we played. So those are the two main problems. And honestly, in a fast-paced game like this, I don't think you're gonna get the netcode much better. It can definitely be better. Like for me personally, I would prefer to play people under 120 ping in this game, but I've played other games where I feel like you could get it up to like 150-ish. Where 150 ping feels playable. Team Mystics did not work on this. Code Mystics did not work on this now. They did all the other KOFs, but not this one. Well, that's because they can roll back the whole game. It's very easy to just say, oh, this is an old game from like 30 years ago. Roll back. They just take literally every part of the game and roll it back. And that's fine. If the PCs can handle it, and if the, you know, the net code can handle it. Optimally, the only thing you roll back is the gameplay state, though. And so that's what they tried with this game. That will lead to certain bugs that you have to flesh out. Oh wait, no it doesn't, because GGPO has been open source for the past decade. But they chose not to use GGPO, so there are bugs. But if you roll back just the gameplay changes, then, or the gameplay variables or whatever, then you patch all the bugs, then the performance will be a lot better. Now people are saying something like, oh, the sprites are so high fidelity that they had to roll back the sprites and it's like causing issues. That's bad. It's stupid for two reasons. And I have a degree in software engineering. One, you don't roll back sprites because they're not related to the game. Like if the wrong image is being shown on screen, whatever, it'll get fixed on the next frame. Who cares? That does not matter. Plus, it's very unlikely to matter, or even happen in the first place. And two, these sprites aren't that high resolution. They're higher resolution than a lot of other 2D games, like the old KOFs, but they're not that high resolution. And this is the thing that makes it really stupid, is you don't roll back the sprite. You roll back, like, the name of the sprite. Like, Kim standing idle frame 5. And then it'll run like that. If you roll back if you put the rollback over the internet with this whole sprite, then everything would fall apart. Because then you'd see the opponent's mods on their screen. Like, whoa. Why is my nude? So it's impossible for the sprites to be causing network lag. It's not possible. Now, they could be causing PC lag because you have to roll back that. But that that goes back to my first point, which is that you shouldn't roll back sprites. Like what rollback is doing is it is re-simulating the game multiple frames per frame. So if there's 3 frames of rollback, then every frame the game goes back 3 frames and then plays the next frame after it re-simulates those 3 frames. So there's no reason to re-simulate the visuals of the game, because you're not going to see the visuals of the game. You're only going to see the visuals that occur on the final frame. You're not going to see the visuals on the first 3 frames. So if they are rolling back this, like, if the functionality of certain moves is tied to the sprite being displayed on screen, that is a fundamental issue that they need to fix at like the base level. that is not how video games should be designed, because that creates dependencies that don't need to be there, and it just makes it really difficult to add rollback, among other things. Also, it makes it impossible to reuse the same sprite for different functions. Like this and this are different moves, but they use the same sprite, and that one, like, there's 3 versions of every move, but they use the same, like, sprite. But if you tie the functionality of a sprite to the, or if you tie the functionality of an attack to the visual sprite being displayed on screen, then you can't do this. Because then you would have the same sprite for all the moves, and then the functionality of the moves would all be the same. So if they do have that, then that means that they just copy and pasted the same sprite 3 times for the 3 moves. which is really bad for the download size of the game. So I doubt they did that. If you do that, you're a bad game designer, and you should be fired. Anytime you find yourself copying and pasting code or items in an asset folder, think twice and be like, can I do this a better way? Hits. Okay. Hello, Fire Dude. Did you know Fiery is spelled F-I-E-R-Y? Ah, I see. This does not work on the screen. And no one bothered to correct you? Maybe no one else knows English. That is a weird move, or a weird move. That is a weird spelling of a word. Most words you wouldn't just swap the letters around like that, but that is how it works. For that one word. That sucks. Nine hits. 7. Got 7 again. Got 7 again. I don't think you can cancel the 8-bit. Wow. That's bad. How would you rate it from 1 to 10 for Fatal Fury? I would rate it a Street Fighter 5 out of 10 because I don't think it's balanced very well. But the way it ends up playing at a high level, I think will be Street Fighter if it doesn't change. Street Fighter 5, which is bad. But the reasons why is different. Street Fighter 5 didn't have anything in it. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, has stuff in it, but none of it matters. They didn't balance it properly. It's kind of like it's a good example. It's kind of like if you've ever played the old Mortal Kombat game where human smoke is the same as Scorpion but better. It's kind of like that. They put a bunch of stuff in the game, but they didn't balance it properly. And so there's a lot of mechanics in the game that are just obsolete and you don't need to use them. Because there's a different mechanic that just overrides it. And so what ends up happening is you just get Street Fighter 5. Actually, it's even closer to like Street Fighter 2. It's like Street Fighter 2 mixed with Street Fighter 5 is what ends up happening. Because they added guard cancels, right? So imagine a Street Fighter game, but you have guard cancels. So now defense is more interesting because you can do things from your guard cancel. But you also have like moves that are like +4 on block or whatever. And so in order to actually deal with these moves, you're supposed to use guard cancels to punish them. Now, guard cancels cost half the value of an EX move, which is 17% of the rev gauge. Also, you just lose rev gauge, or your rev gauge is the opposite of what you expect. It starts at 0, and you don't want it. You don't want it to go to full. It's like a overheat meter, but whatever. You can think of it like a Street Fighter 6 drive gauge in that sense, but flipped. So when you perform a guard cancel, the rev gauge goes up by 17%, but it's also like a guard gauge type thing where it goes up as you block attacks. So blocking attacks is bad, but every character has a whole bunch of moves that are like +4 on block because of the feint system. So like you can do close heavy kick and then do a feint and you're +4 on block. Unless you play Mai, then you're only +2 on block because she's trash. But yeah, you have a bunch of ways of like getting extended attack sequences of frame traps, which cranks up the opponent's rev gauge and doesn't produce it doesn't affect your rev gauge at all. It actually heals your rev gauge over time. So it's a really strong, advantageous strategy to just do that over and over again. And what they wanted the counter to be, is guard cancels. But in order to perform a guard cancel, you must use just defense or hyper defense. And just defense is what you'd expect. There's a 8 or a 7, I forget what it was. Let's say a 7-frame window where you can block an attack at the last moment within 7 frames, and that'll be a just defend. Or you can, if you're already in block stun, you have to do a hyper defense instead, which is you tap forward, and that's a 3-frame window. So it's even harder. But also you have to guess, because like, if I'm +4 and I do a 4-frame move, that's a true block string, so you have to use hyper defense against it. But if I'm +4 and I do a slower move, like 5 or 6 frames, that's not a true block string. So you can't use hyper defense, you have to use just defense. But you can't use just defense while in block stun. So it's literally a 50-50 between tapping back to just defend or tapping forward to hyper defend. There's never a situation in which you could have done both. Because one only works in block stun, and one only works if you're not in block stun. And one of them is a 7-frame window, and one of them is a 3-frame window. And if you don't do one of those two things, you can't perform a guard cancel. You can't block it. Like, you can't guard cancel off of just blocking regularly. You have to do a just defend or a hyper defend. So you have to take a risk, an unnecessary risk, in order to even attempt a guard cancel. And at that point, there's no reason to do that. I should just block. Or DP. Like, blocking and DPing will beat all of that. What happens if you push block the plus push block? Let me bring up my notes. I forget what push block works, or how push block works. I never saw a single person use push block. Three levels, basic. Do they have push block? I didn't write anything down about push block. Zippers, rev gauge. How about rev blow, rev guard? I never used rev guard either. Oh, rev guard is what you're talking about. Stop cross up. Yeah, because you can. It's like drive parry from Street Fighter 6. You can just hold the button down and you'll guard. So the game becomes Mortal Kombat for a few seconds because you just have a block button. But also cross-ups I didn't find to be a problem that much. It costs your rev gauge. So when you block, your rev gauge increases. When you rev guard, it increases even more. So you don't want to use that because being able to consistently do more than 33% of your opponent's life is very important. And that usually requires at least 40% of your rev gauge. So using rev guard for no reason is kind of pointless. It's just not worth it. And people knew that, which is why you never saw it. Well, the game's not even out yet. If the game's this young, people are going to be like, oh, this game has this mechanic and this mechanic and this mechanic, and they're going to try to use all of them because they're in the game. And then over time, they're going to weed out all the ones that are useless, which is all of them, except for DPs and just regular blocking. And they're only going to stick to the ones that matter, which is DPs and regular blocking. Like, why would I take a risk on a 50-50 that is either a 7-frame window or a 3-frame window that will consume my rev gauge to not get a full combo sometimes? I mean, actually, you probably would get a full combo in most cases, but it would be a reduced combo. It's like a Street Fighter perfect parry thing where the combo gets scaled by like 40%, I think, in that game. It's 50% in Street Fighter, but I think it's 40% for Just Defend. So why would I take a risk on a 50-50 guess, because I had to guess between the Just Defend or Hyper Defend, and it's either a 3-frame window or a 7-frame window, based on which one I choose, and it costs meter, and my combo damage is reduced by 40%. Why would I take all of those downsides when I could just DP? DP is easy. DP is more consistent, because if it's a true block string, my DP doesn't come out, and if it's not a true block string, it does come out, and I just hit him. The DP still does good damage, good enough damage. You can't combo off of DPs, which they got right. Unlike Street Fighter 4. But every character has a light DP, which is meterless, fully invincible. Doesn't cost any meter. Yeah. Rev Guard does not need to be the answer. There just needs to be an answer, whatever it is. The game's still early on. They could add regular guard cancels that cost double. You know? Like, if you do a regular guard, you can still guard cancel, but it costs the same as an EX move or something. Yes, so there are some input mechanics in City of the Wolves that are in KOF, and there are some that are not. And fighting games need to mimic KOF input system because it's really good, but they only half copied it, which is weird because it's made by the same, it's made by the same people. But it did have the one direction pass rule. So here's something that might seem magical to you, a Street Fighter player. I can walk forward and throw a fireball. Whoops. And throw a fireball. I suck. There we go. I can walk forward and throw a fireball. Even though I have a DP. This character has a quarter circle and a DP. Punch. But I could do a walk forward fireball instantly. That's because of the one more direction rule, or whatever you want to call it, which is to say, when you're doing a motion, you have to press the button while holding one of three directions. It's either the last direction of the motion, or one past, or neutral. So if I want to throw a fireball, and I hold left, it won't work. I lost my inputs. I'm inputting a fireball, and then I go left, and it stops working, because I'm holding left when I press the punch button. The game doesn't let you do that. You have to be holding forward, or one pass, which would be up forward, because you're going from down to forward, and then up forward would be one pass, or neutral. Okay, but for a DP, it ends on down forward, so one more would be forward. If I hold any other direction, I can't do it. See? See that? There, I pressed left too late. I pressed left after pressing the button, so it didn't stop me. Well, what that means is, for a fireball motion, you can hold neutral, forward, or up forward. And for a DP, you can hold neutral, forward, or down forward. So if I hold down forward, I'll never get a fireball, and if I hold up forward, I'll never get a DP. This was in City of the Wolves. But there are other input systems that are not in City of the Wolves that they should have put in City of the Wolves. So they need to work on that. Literally, games just need to literally copy and paste all of the input systems from this game because they're perfect. With one exception. With one exception. I'm going to show you the exception right here. Actually, I can show you in trial mode. This is a problem in trials. In Elizabeth's Trial 2, I think. Well, I'm not going to do it in trial mode, but I'm going to show you the trial. In practice mode. I think it's she does it in 2 trials. I think it's in trial 2 and like trial 7 or something. But she has this move, which is a command dash. This is quarter forward kick. Ooh, quarter forward kick. And she has the back one. And but you can cancel. You can cancel this into her special moves. Either one. And you might notice something a little bit weird about my buttons. I'm going to do quarter forward kick and hold the button down and watch my inputs. You see that? It looks kind of funny. This is what it looks like if I do punch. Because it doesn't have that problem, see? I just do quarter forward punch and I hold it. And it shows what you expect. But if I do quarter forward kick... Oh, I'm going to do it right. There we go. If I do quarter forward kick and hold it, I get this weird thing where it does the normal input, but then it repeats forward plus kick on the same frame. Now, if I hold forward and then press kick, they're on different lines, see? So when I do this, that means it's interpreting this as me pressing forward and kick at the same time. So what's going on here is it's dumping my inputs for a frame. It is dumping my input history. It's saying, okay, we're going to pretend like you didn't press anything for the past few seconds. And the reason they do this is to avoid supers. Because she has quarter forward punch as a super, but they want you to do this. Oops. They want you to do this without getting the super. They want you to be able to do the forward command dash and then not super when you do the quarter forward punch. Now, this game lets you combine inputs like this normally. So what would normally happen would look like this. Oh, come on. Like that, see? And I can show it to you in action by doing this. See? If I do quarter forward punch and then quarter forward punch again, I get the super. But if I do quarter forward kick, oops. If I do quarter forward kick and then quarter forward punch, it dumps my input history so that I don't get the super. So that it effectively ignores everything beneath. See my mouse? No, you can't see my mouse. It dumps everything that happens when I perform the first move. And so I have to start over again. Now here's the problem. In Elizabeth's Trials, I like the idea behind that mechanic, but they didn't do it quite right. Because it happens when you start the move, not when you press the button. Like, this is an example. Like, watch my inputs very carefully. It's going to be super exaggerated when I do it from a cancel. If I do it raw like this, it's sort of instantaneous. You're like, whoa, what happened? It like happened in the blink of an eye. But if I cancel, it gets delayed. See? Bam. Because it dumps your inputs when the dash begins, even if you're buffering it from a previous action. So this is a problem because it desyncs the input dumping from what's actually going on with your hands. And so what happens is you get trouble with some of Elizabeth's Trials, particularly when you're trying to do the dash into the grab. The grab is this motion. Is half circle back punch. That's the motion for the grab. And so you can do this. It is possible. If you're good. I'm not good enough. There we go. It is possible to combo this. But the problem is, if you try to do it too early, if you start the motion for the command grab too early, it gets dumped. Because your inputs get dumped when the dash happens. See there? I actually input it properly. See? I input it perfect. I went quarter forward kick, quarter back, or half circle back, forward punch. I input it perfectly, but I didn't get the move because somewhere while I was inputting the motion for the command grab, the game said input dump, and it lost the first inputs of my command grab, so it won't work anymore. So what you have to do is you have to hold this. You have to hold this until it dumps your inputs, and then start moving. Like that. Too slow. And that gives you less time to input the grab. Now, the solution to this is to not input dump when the move begins, but the input dump... Okay, you do need to input dump when the move begins, because otherwise you're going to be doing weird input dumps at times when you shouldn't do input dumps. But you don't dump all of your inputs. You dump all the inputs that came before the button press of the move that caused the input dump, if that makes sense. Whew. So that will allow you to input the command grab, and then whenever the dash happens to start, it won't dump the parts of the command grab that you've input so far. This whole system only applies to a few characters. It only applies to a few characters. It applies to K-Dash when he's outside of HD mode for some reason, and it applies to Elizabeth, and it applies to a couple of other characters with like command dash style inputs where they want you to be able to do certain actions without getting a super, basically. That is the only flaw in the input system, like the input handling system of the King of Fighters 13 that I am aware of. Everything else is perfect. Now, I can think of a few optimizations that don't exist yet, like there are certain things where if I made a fighting game, I would put them in, but so far, no one's actually done that. Like that system just does not exist. For example, if I start walking and then I let go, I want to keep walking for 1 or 2 frames, so that I can't show it here, but on a stick, there's usually 1 or 2 frames in between walking left and right, where you're at a neutral position. But if you're on like a keyboard, it's very easy to do frame perfect walk changes. And so in order to equalize the controller types, I would make you continue to walk for 1 or 2 frames after you stopped walking and went in with the neutral. That would have 0 effect on keyboards, and it would have a positive effect on stick controllers. Things like that don't exist in any other fighting game, but if I made a fighting game, they would exist. So other than that one thing and all the things that don't exist yet, this game has a perfect input system. Perfect. To make a fighting game can be fun, but then I wouldn't be able to play fighting games. I would be busy making them. Plus, there's more that goes into making a fighting game than just theoretically designing the game mechanics. They have not patched the rollback yet, but I don't think the rollback is a big... Like, the rollback isn't perfect. Like, it's not Skullgirls level, but it's not bad either. People are complaining about the rollback because it's a KOF game, and no one near them plays the game. So the game is forced to pair them against people who are further away. Also, it lies... This is a glitch. The game lies to you about the opponent's ping in this menu. In this menu only, there's a delay column that shows the ping. That lies. It's too low. Once you get into the match, that's the real ping. It'll be about 50 milliseconds higher than what it shows on this screen. So people are thinking the netcode is bad because they think they're getting a low ping here, but it's actually a higher ping. The real problem is the crashing. If you go back to last stream, I tried to play a player from Europe, and we crashed between every single match. It never crashes mid-match. I think I've had like 1, maybe 2 crashes mid-match, and I've played hundreds of games so far. Only 1 or 2 have actually exited during the match. But it very consistently crashes in between matches, no matter what you do. Like, what I ended up doing at the end of the stream was I was like, okay, we finished a match, let me leave this lobby and go make a new one so it doesn't crash. And so hopefully that gets fixed. They have announced that they are working on a fix of some kind, but it's not looking good because they said that they're going to disable certain stages because they think the stages are the problem. The stages are not the problem. There's a fundamental problem with how your lobby system works. that causes the game to crash. And there are things they could do to make the rollback better. But it's really complicated and probably not worth their time. I think the netcode itself is good enough. The problem is just the lack of player base. I looked on Steam charts. There's more people playing the Steam edition than there are the global match edition currently. And by more, I mean like 25 as opposed to 15. This game is very dead, which means that you're not going to find an opponent within a reasonable range of you unless you specifically make friends with people who are near you and time your schedules accordingly using Discord or whatever. That's the real problem. But yeah, disabling certain stages and disabling background animations is not the solution, but they think it is. Their development team on the netcode is just incompetent. I'm going to say it. You can quote me on that. They don't know how to make a video game. City of the Wolves felt fine to me. I played 2 days of the beta, multiple hours on each day. I played 3 characters, one character, 2 characters. I played one character each day, and then I also allowed Mai, and I'm like, Mai sucks, so I didn't actually play Mai, but I played Hotaru and I played Preacher on day 2. It felt the netcode was fine. The problem with City of the Wolves was day 1. It just didn't work. Like, I couldn't find a match. The PC version just didn't work. But they fixed it for day 2. And on day 2, I realized the game sucked. Like, the gameplay sucked. Now, is the reason KOF13 GM having a bad PC port because they were busy working on City of the Wolves? No. No, it's because they're incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know why rollback is important. They're just like, hey, rollback's a buzzword. Also, they didn't care enough to actually test anything. The Steam page for Global Edition is literally copy-paste the Steam Edition Steam page. Even where it's supposed to say the name of the game, it still says Steam Edition instead of Global Match, which is insane. They didn't even update the title of the game in the Steam page description. Also, the game released with public debug builds. Oops. So they removed that a few weeks ago. It took them a month, but they still removed it. Yes, the development team does not understand what rollback is, why it's important, and how to optimize it properly, even though it's been open source for 10 years. GGP has been open source for 10 years. And it doesn't help that the people talking about it are also incompetent. the people saying, "Oh, it's laggy because the sprites are so high fidelity." Don't know what they're talking. They're stupid. Ignore them. They're dumb. What do you like about City of the Wolves gameplay? The defense is very boring. They put in a whole bunch of defensive mechanics that don't matter. Like just defend, not worth using. Guard cancels, not worth using. Rev guard, not worth using. Hyper defense, not worth using. Defense is all just block and sometimes DP. And sometimes mash jab. But very rarely. Nope. KOF game, the KOF rollback updates that weren't this game were done by Code Mystics, which did not use GGPO. Why didn't they hire Code Mystics for this game? Because they hate me, and they knew that I liked KOF 13. They were like, let's make a bad port of KOF 13 just to make this guy mad. It's the only reason they did it. It was probably a financial choice. Or maybe Code Mystics like specializes in older games, and this game was just barely not old enough, or something. Like the console it was written for is too new, so they didn't have the resources to just convert things to PC or something. Now, rewind 5 years ago, games actually functioned when they came out on PC. Not anymore. The Tekken lately? What do you mean, like the monetization? Or what? I do not follow Tekken at all. I do not care. Yeah, Season 2? I saw people talking about it, but I don't know what's entailed in Season 2. It's made them all forced. I mean, that's what Tekken's been the whole time. Tekken has been 50-50 or block for the past 20 years. And in Tekken 8, they made blocking worse because of the chip damage and heat mode. So naturally, every character is going to be 50-50. And if they're leaning into that, that's what they want. Go for it. I do not care, because Tekken is not fun to me. I've tried to play it on... When Tekken 7 first came out, I played 300 hours in the first 30 days. But other than that, I've just not been a Tekken fan, for various reasons. Your favorite team? Sure. Favorite team is those top 4 characters in whatever order. Street Fighters, Soul Calibur died too quickly. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it's fine. Virtua Fighter 5 is my number 4 favorite fighting game. Virtua Fighter 5 Revo. This is number 1. Virtua Fighter is number 4. Had a look at the list. I knew it was top 5. It's a fun game. Although it gets kind of boring when you win every game. Because no one understands the fundamentals. At least in this game, if my opponent sucks, I get to do cool combos. But the Virtua Fighter, it's like, oh. I main one character at a time. Like, very systematically. I played Street Fighter 4 over the span of several years, and I remember the controller I used when learning each character. Like, when my stick broke, when my Hori stick broke, I had to play on a Xbox 360 controller for a while. I played Balrog, Sakura, and Adon during that era, so I'm better with those characters on a controller than I am a stick. So the longer I play a game, the more characters I'll learn. Usually. Except Guilty Gear XX, I only play Abba. Because she's Abba. I tried to pick up Slayer to deal with bad matchups, but meh. That's the game's fault. I ended up just stop playing anyway. Why learn a new character when you can learn a whole new game? That's better. Johnny is very difficult in that game. Unity 2, I played it on stream when it came out. Let me check how many streams. I played it for a few days. When was that? That was back before I kept the VOD there. Surely it was after that. 2x KO. Yeah, I didn't play it that much. Where is oh, there it is. Unity 2. Yeah, I played it 2 days. 2 days in a row on stream. It was overshadowed by Tekken 8 because the game didn't work on release for like 2 days. Like, I don't think I played a single online match of Unity 2 just because it just didn't work. Also, it felt exactly the same as Unity 1, so I was like, oh. But with rollback. And 2 new characters. Or 3 new characters. Shield guy, gun lady, and flying boss dude. Who's the best KO13 player ever? It could be Xiaohai. It could be Verna. It could be Reynald. It could be Bala. It could be Romance. It could be Tokido. Not me. I've played Bala multiple times. I haven't beat him a single time, I think. I forget. Definitely not in this game. I came close a few times. Ever play a fighting? What do you mean casually? What is it? I don't understand what that word means. Don't say it's the opposite of serious or competitive. Without trying to learn much about it. Imagine if I said... I want to go to school, but I don't want to learn much. You know? I want to be a casual school enjoyer. What does that even mean? The reason you go to school is to learn something. The reason you play a fighting game... Let me back up. The reason you play a game is to beat it. The reason you play a Pokemon game is for the experience that occurs when you attempt to beat the game. Or, you know, do little small objectives one at a time as the game throws them at you. You don't beat a fighting game, so what is the reason people play fighting games? It is to reduce the opponent's health bar to 0. And it is the job of the developer to make the game fun when you try to reduce the opponent's health bar to 0. So, like, it doesn't make sense for you to not want to reduce the opponent's health bar to 0. Some people who are interested in winning, but not interested in trying to learn much about it. So they are not interested in winning. Like, imagine I played tennis, but I'm like, I'm not gonna hit any backhands. I'm only gonna hit forehands. I'm like, what? But I'm really serious about learning my forehand. What? What are you talking about? Oh, man. Whenever the shot's on your left, you're just gonna let it go? You're insane. I mean, low tier gods like that. Low tier god, if he could, would put a monkey on the other side of the screen, and he would only play monkeys, so he wins as much as possible and feels as good about himself as possible. Is he still about? Let's find out. When did he last stream? Oh, he doesn't... He hides his VODs, of course. His chat is on the move right now. I assume he's streaming, but there's an ad playing. Oh, he's watching... What is that? Power slap? What the heck are you doing, bro? So yeah, he somehow has not been banned yet. Hassan somehow not been banned yet. Do I watch fighting game matches in my free time? Not anymore, because I don't care about the games people play. If people still played KOF 13, I'd watch the matches. I'll watch match footage while labbing a new game. I mean, I got not all the characters now. I do have a guide for all 3 of those characters, though. Daimon, Shen, and Akuma. Takuma. The TNS KOF 13... No, I didn't. Because there were no good players. Also, it's GM Online. So it's not real KOF 13. I don't watch online tournaments. If I was interested in a game with good netcode, I might watch online tournaments like Skullgirls or Killer Instinct or something. But Killer Instinct is dead, and Skullgirls is trash, so... How does Killer Instinct play? Imagine... Let's see. Imagine Street Fighter 4. But with Street Fighter 5 throws. And every character can do 80% to you with no meter. But there's a complex combo breaker system that makes them less likely to attempt that type of a combo. That's how I would describe Killer Instinct. Also, every character is extremely unique. There is a character with better air mobility. Like, she can double jump, she can triple jump, she has air projectiles, she has like a wall cling, she has a Chun-Li stomp move. She has several really strong air options. There's a character with armor on everything, but he's really slow. But he's a giant rock, and he can use the rocks for various things. If he has the rocks stored, he has armor, so he can absorb 1 hit of armor per rock. But the more rocks he has, the slower he is, so all his stuff gets slower. Also, he can use the rock as a weapon, like he can pick it up and swing it like a bat. He can also create walls, like literal walls, where you can't pass them by using a rock. And he has a move where he goes like this, and it does more damage the more walls are behind the opponent, because it smashes them through all the walls. There's also a character who is like a Marvel character. She's she's a single unit, which is 3 characters at the same time. So she has assists, and she has different moves depending on which form she is currently controlling. There's also a character called Spinal who can throw projectiles, and the projectiles curse you, so you can't build meter, and he can cause them to bounce off of walls, so he has like 70 projectiles coming at you from all directions. Also, one of the projectiles is an overhead. There's also Mira. Mira does a lot of damage, and she has a lot of safety, but most of what she does consumes health. So what she can do is she can sacrifice her damage output to heal back the health she's dealt to her. Yes, I'm talking about Killer Instinct. There's also... who else? There's also... I mean, there's also basic characters like Thunder. Thunder's just like a... he's kind of like a grappler, but his throw is like half screen. What's neat about it? That is a very open-ended question. There are many different ways for a fighting game to be fun for different people. I enjoy KOF 13 because it is the best game that I've found that promotes interaction between the two players. which is to say your success rate in this game is very much directly proportional to your ability in understanding the choices your opponent will make and adapting your choices based on those choices that you think they're going to make. Like, if you get to my website, there are 3 main categories of skill that contribute to a player's success rate in fighting games. There's execution, which is your ability to do the things that you want to do. That would include reaction time. That would include being fast with your left hand. That would include being precise with your right hand, like one-frame links. All of that is execution. There's knowledge, which is just what you know about the game, how things interact. And there's adaptation, which is your ability to adjust your choices based on the opponent's choices. And in this game weighs your adaptation more than any other skill. Most fighting games don't do that. Like, I don't have the best execution. I've been playing the game long enough to where I have good knowledge at this point for more than half the characters. But my knowledge isn't like... I don't know crazy stuff with any character. Like, I only do the simple stuff. Because that's what matters to me. And I can still beat people who don't know what they're doing. Because this game doesn't care as much about those things as it cares about your ability to adapt to the opponent. And that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years, is adapting to people. Random guard, by the way. What's that? A quarter circle, not a half circle. Oh, I missed it. I am using the Comba Obsidian 1, which is just a Sanwa parts stick. But it's also really old, so it's the stuff on the sides is peeling. But it still works. How much did it cost? I don't know. I got it for Christmas like 5 years ago. Probably between 100 and 200 US American dollars. It seems to be the standard price range. You can get a stick with Sanwa parts for like $50. It's possible. I dropped it. I play Yatagarasu whenever someone asks. And I'm not currently playing KOF-13 against someone. Because KOF-13 is my #1 favorite fighting game, and Yatagarasu is my #2 favorite fighting game. But both of them are dead. And so is #3, which is Killer Instinct. Numero 4, Virtua Fighter 5, which is in the process of dying again for the 3rd time. But also the gap between #1 and #3 is extremely large. When was the last time I played Strive? Let's find out. I don't remember playing it that recently, but I guess I did. I mean, I didn't play it for real since ABBA came out, which was way back when. It's been over a year. Yeah, I played Tekken 8 matches for several streams. I played Xiaoyu and Asuka. Then I got bored. a new Killer Instinct game came out, would you be excited? Only if it was similar to the last one. Like, I don't like the first Killer Instinct. Like the 30-year-old one. Or the second one. I only like the 2013 one. I've been sitting here for 84 minutes and I haven't gotten a single match. It is 4 a.m. Why do I stream so late? Because that's when I'm awake. Currently. Think of it this way. You have to compare the value of games based on how often you get a match and the type of reward you're going to receive based on the quality of the match. And the quality of the match will be based on the game that you choose, as well as the quantity of matches. And so let's say I get one match in KO of 13 for every 100 matches of Street Fighter VI. I have to ask myself, is the personal reward of playing 100 matches of Street Fighter VI greater than the reward of getting one match of KO of 13? And I would say no. I would rather wait 100 times as long for a KO of 13 match than play a Street Fighter 6 match 100 times. Now, some people are different, right? If you have a fridge, and at the front of the fridge is a whole bunch of cheap stuff, and at the back of the fridge is the good stuff. Do you grab the cheap stuff because it's right there, or do you go out of your way to get the inconvenient but better stuff? It's going to depend on the person. It's going to depend on what they want. It's going to depend on a lot of things. You know, there's a reason people wait for 3 hours in line at Olive Garden. KO of 13 is like Olive Garden. And Street Fighter 6 is like McDonald's. I'm too good. I'm doing it too fast. Cool. I dropped the last hit. Are you kidding me? See you later, fire dude. What are some popular fighting games to get trash? All of them. Guilty Gear Strive is one of the worst fighting games I've ever played. Street Fighter 6 sucks. Tekken 8 sucks. Melee sucks. They're all trash. Play this game instead. Why does this do so much damage? All the command grab. With 2 bars and a drive. But it has 4 one-frame links in it. Huh. Hey. Melee is too unique, which is why I had that scene. Like, if you want to play a platform fighter, that's all you got. You know what I mean? Because all the other ones suck. But if you want to play a 2D fighting game, I mean, I think KO13 is the best one. But there are valid alternatives competing. How much ton is this? 7, 4. Okay. I have never played CVS2 against a human before. But you could say the same thing about Third Strike. And I have played Third Strike. Third Strike has like 3 valid characters. And if you don't play one of those 3 characters, you're trolling. Maybe 4. Maybe Makoto's up there too. The truth is that character balance doesn't matter. What matters is how fun is it to play a match, regardless of tiers. Like you can think of the game as having like 20 joke characters and 3 real characters. There's less variety in terms of character choice, but the gameplay allows for variety in player choices. You know? Like, not every Chun-Li is going to play the same. Well, okay. Every Chun-Li player will play the same. Not every Yun player will play the same. And not every Ken player will play the same. And not every Makoto player will play the same. And different players will be better or worse at certain things than others, because the parry system is so complex. So I don't think character balance is that important. I think it means something. I think matchup balance is more important, which is to say, like, if a character is high on the tier list, they are winning in all of their matchups. Like, a character's tier list is, or a character's matchup chart is the tier list. Like, every character performs better against the lower tiers, and every character performs worse against the higher tiers. You don't get that in every game, especially like anime games. Sometimes you get low tier characters that are really good against certain top tiers, and Third Strike's one of those with Makoto. Makoto does not fare very well against a lot of the low tiers. She's very strong against the 3 top tiers compared to the rest of the cast, and that happens when you give characters character-specific mechanics. This game doesn't really do that. In this game, every character can do everything, with very few exceptions, and the exceptions are tiny. It's just that characters do each thing differently And they have different strengths and weaknesses, but they can all do the same thing. If that makes sense. Like, Takuma's hop is really good, but every character can hop. No, I dropped the last part, the easy part. Whereas, you know, Dalsum in Street Fighter games can do things other characters literally can't do. It's not that he's better at it than other characters, it's that he can do it and no one else can. The way the game functions at a fundamental level is different based on the opponent's character choice and your character choice. And that will lead to the matchup chart being inconsistent with the tier chart. We're going to get lower tier characters with the advantageous matchup against characters that are higher than them on the tier list. And I think that's a problem. I think that will be exciting for some players, but I don't think it's good for the competitive integrity of the game because it makes the game impossible to balance. It makes the game become blind pick and just guessing and learning 2 or 3 characters instead of 1 character and then picking the right character based on your opponent's character choice. Which is quite boring. Hey, Tim's been quite lazy in my attempts to get better. What are you having problems with? Also, what characters do you choose? Or I guess, what character do you think needs the most immediate improvement? And by the way, your character choice does not really matter because every character plays the same fundamentally. Leona is difficult, so I would not recommend her for beginners because she's difficult for certain types of players. But you can play Leona, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. It's just you might have a slower learning curve because she's difficult. And which parts of Leona's gameplay are you having trouble with? Her combos are pretty simple. The basic ones. But this would be the crouch random guard. And then you do this. If they block, you stop. If they get hit, you do the full thing. If you're mid-screen, that's what you get. If you're in the corner, you get more. Ooh. That works, right? Oh, maybe it has to be heavy. Yeah, it's heavy only. But if you can do this drill, that's a really big step in the right direction. Okay? Okay. The first thing that you should practice in KOF is being able to hop consistently. Like, I'm gonna hop. We're gonna hop. We're gonna hop. We're gonna hop. Hop, 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 hop. And the second thing you want to practice is hyper hops. Hyper hop, hyper hop, hyper hop, hyper hop. Once you got that down, the third thing you want to practice is your hit confirms, which is this. So if you set him to random guard, if he guards, you stop. After two might be too hard. Maybe you can do three. So you do this: crouch B, stand B in Leona's case. And then if they block it, you stop. But if they don't block it, whoops, if they don't block it, you go to your command normal. You cancel to this move if you're mid screen, or this move if you're in the corner, and you get the combo. So random guard. Right. And then maybe as you want to get better and better at the game, we can start incorporating different combos based on how much meter you want to spend. With Leona, you can do this. So I'm going to drive cancel for a little bit more damage. If you're playing the character last, you should also probably learn how to do a basic HD combo. Leona doesn't have those. Leona's HD combos are really hard, which is why I don't recommend her for beginners, because she's difficult to play last, and her best place is last. Don't care about your character's best place, but if you are playing Leona last, her HD combos look like this. Oops. Which one of these is more damage? It's this one, right? That's 70 than this one. That's a 70. So it's 60. What? Okay. 70. Oh, okay. Remembered wrong. There we go. Oh, nope. Oops. That's probably the better route to go. Oh, missed. That's the general structure of her combos. But yeah, really hard to practice that. So maybe avoid Leona last if you're a beginner, because that's going to take you a long time to learn. Juicebox has a very good tutorial for Leona if you want to know more specifics. But that's all you need to know to just pick up the game and play it. You know, besides all the like mechanical stuff, I have videos on that, like how the meter system works and how the rolls work and how the guard cancels work. You got to know all that too. But once you have the knowledge of how the system works at a universal level, you do your hops, then your hyper hops, then your hit confirms, and then you're ready. I mean, you should still go to the lab and learn better combos, more varied combos for how much meter you want to spend, your HG combos, and like variations on your basic attack strings. Like, oh, maybe I want to use crouch jab here. Maybe there's a reason to do that. Maybe my opponent will react to the kick but not the punch for some reason. I don't know. So if I use punches, it'll give him less time to react because he's not ready for it. Also with Leona, she's one of the few characters who has like a fundamentally different option from other characters. It's not that big of a deal, but she can do this or this. And these are instant overheads. And you can combo off of them. You can also super off of them. So you might want to practice that. The heavy kick works from closer range. You have to do a vertical jump, not a hop. If I hop, I get this move. If I jump, I get this move. I think this is the only move in the game that has a unique animation based on if you hop or jump. I could be wrong. But this one, works from closer range. Like you can do it from one poke, like that. But if you're two pokes, it doesn't work anymore. And that will combo into the meterless, this guy. Not this guy. It will combo into the meterless. Or the super. If you do the jab, it won't combo into the first one. Oh, it will. Never mind. I lied. And you can also do super. And that one does less damage because it's a light normal, but it works from further away. Give you two pokes away. Also, if you're playing a charged character, I would caution you not to play them like a charged character, because they're not really. Like, if you play a Street Fighter 4 charged character, your neutral's going to be like this. I'm charging. Sonic Boom. I'm charging. Sonic Boom. Oh, you jumped? Flash kick. That's not how this game works. Play the character like you would play any other character, because their charge time in this game is 30 frames. It's less than half the charge time of most charge moves in Street Fighter. Every charge move in this game is 30 frame charge. So maybe once in a while you should sit down and be like, it was gonna jump, flash kick, if on reaction, because you can do that sometimes. There's some characters that can do that, like Kim and Ash, and to an extent Leona. This is not actually invincible, so it's not as good at it, but you can still do it. And it's still valid. But then the trade-off is you're sitting there for at least 30 frames. You know? And this game has a lot of movement options, so if you're not moving, you're losing out. Also, if you play a charged character in Street Fighter 4, your normals are insane, so you don't need to move. I believe charge time is the same in KO 15, but I don't remember. Which is weird, because they slowed down everything else, but kept charge time and attack speed and Clark's command grab the same. For some reason, instead of slowing it down. But anyway. 99% of the neutral game of KOF is your normals. So the charge time does not matter. You should be poking with far heavy punch. You should be poking with far heavy kick. You should be poking with crouch heavy kick. You should be poking with like freaking hop normals. You should be hopping in a bunch. Jump heavy punch is your cross up. There we go. Heavy kick is your like multi-purpose, slightly downward angle with good range attack. Jump CD's trash, don't use it. Jump light punches for your instant overheads. And jump light kick has a really nice hitbox on it if they're also in the air with you and it's really fast. So if you think they're going to be in the air with you, you can do that. Yeah. And if you're wanting to make a prediction on their jump, you can do one of these, because they might jump into it. And if they jump into it, you get one of these. I'll show that off, I guess. Too late. Too far. There you go. You get one of those. It's a very safe preemptive anti-air, but it's very plus on block too, so if they like happen to block it somehow, you're fine. The weakness is its long startup. Also, the heavy version is better at anti-airing, but they can like get under it. So I would use the light version, or the EX one is like a bigger sphere that covers all the possible places. But it costs meter. There are things that you can try, but you don't need any of that. All you need is to hit confirm. So hop, hyper hop, hit confirm. You've learned a character. And there are tutorials out there on my channel as well as Juicebox's channel for almost every character. I don't think there's one for Benimaru. There's not one for Ash. I don't remember if there's one. I don't think there's one for Robert. I could be wrong. I definitely don't have a Robert one, but Juicebox might. Vice. Yeah, he did Vice, right? Elizabeth. Elizabeth is pretty straightforward, actually. I could do a video on her. I have one for Duolon. I think we both have one for Shen. He has one for Kim. I might do one for Kim soon because it's what won the poll. I have a basics one for Hawajai. I didn't cover his drunk stance. No one plays Raiden. Mai, I don't think there's one for Mai yet. She's a little bit complicated. Not very much. Juice definitely has one for King. If he doesn't, what are you doing? That's your main character. Yuri, he definitely has... does he have one for Yuri? I know... I think he does have one for Yuri. I think he has one for K-Dash. I know I have one for K-Dash. Kula. I don't think either of us have one for Kula. Maybe I do, but... Just watch Bala play. He plays Kula sometimes. Maxima... It's also kind of straightforward. I don't think there's a one for Maxima. I did one for Athena, I think. I don't remember. I definitely did one for Kenso. I think Juice also has one for Kenso. Juice definitely has one for Chin. I think I have one for Chin as well. I don't remember. Rolf. I don't think there's one for Rolf yet, which is interesting. I just made one for Clark. Like a month ago. Not even. And we both have one for Liana. So there's only maybe 5 or 6 characters that we don't have a video for yet. Oh, I didn't talk about the EX ones. I did all of these. I did Flameori, I did Mr. Karate, and I did EX Kyo. In fact, I did all of them in pairs of 2. So I did Kyo and EX Kyo at the same time, and I did EX Iori and regular Iori at the same time, and I did Dakuma and Mr. Karate at the same time. In the same video. Those videos suck. Don't watch them. But if you want to play those characters, I guess watch them, because there's stuff in there. But they suck. So be warned. Juicebox might have a video for one of the Ioris or both of them. I'm not sure. Tori. Ooh. More damage, but it's core only. Why is this combo so weird? I got it. Huh. Is it crouch? No. There we go. I got the weird hit that time. I don't know what happens to cause that. You lose a little bit of damage. It's not like you're gonna get punished or anything for missing the combo, but you lose like 40 something damage out of nowhere. I don't know why. There's not very many combos like that in this game. It looks like it's like I'm too close? No, it's not that. It's the height. It's like they're too high. something. You always get the hard knockdown at least, so it's not very big of a deal. Do you play other games that require a similar amount of learning? Similar amount? Yeah. I've played Slay the Spire, I've played Hearthstone / Magic the Gathering / Marvel Snap / Shadowverse / Yu-Gi-Oh! / insert card game here. I've played League of Legends / Smite / Deadlock. I've played several speedruns. I'm actually the moderator of several speedruns on speedrun.com, but no one runs those games because I made the board and no one else plays the game. Also, I play... What else do I play? Sometimes I play single-player games. Recently, I have a friend who's been playing Repo, so I've been playing Repo with him. It's like an extraction game, like Lethal Company. I like the Persona games. I really enjoyed Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Royal. I'm another guy who likes to play survival games, so sometimes I'll play survival games, namely Valheim, Raft, whatever. But those are like, I don't have to think for those games. I just play them. What else is in my Steam library? I play Dark Souls games when they come out. I have like 500 hours in Dark Souls 3. Something like that. Sometimes I'll just sit down and do a variant of Sudoku. Never played Ninja Gaiden. I enjoyed Octopath Traveler 1. Mostly I don't enjoy RPGs, but I like Persona games and I like Octopath Traveler. I didn't get the second one. It looked like the same thing, but with one extra gameplay mechanic, and the story was just as bad. I did not like the story of Octopath, or like the writing. It's very boring. But the music is good. Shmups and beat-em-ups are deep. I don't think so. I tried to play Nier Automata, but I got bored after a while. I didn't finish it. Proposal. Play a better video game. Maybe if there are mods to play the game more interesting and turn it more into like a Dark Souls type thing. I don't know. Where's all my opponents, bro? Kyle. He didn't say it. Oh, I misremembered it. That was close. Really, what the few JRPGs like? They're well made. The combat is actually kind of deep. Kind of. Also, I enjoy the challenge of Persona games when I try to max every social link. And then Persona games have really good music. Persona 3's aesthetic is like perfect. Because I like blue. And I like the music. Chee, chee. Ooh. Oh, I remember what I used to do. Yeah, you have to like delay this. Why does he do that much damage? From anywhere on the screen, from any hit? For like no meter? Woo! Character's broken, bro. Yeah, get some sleep. See you later, Ron. Thanks for the sub. Oh, I dropped it. Why though? Alright. No matches today. Unfortunate. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye.